How we doing today, everybody? It's Alex from Tiger Skull RPG here today, and what I want to talk to y'all about is creating product vignettes of your images, of your models. We're sculptors here. We're working with 3D printing, but beyond just art, we're also creating product listings. And so, I just wanted to take a minute to show you how I go about creating something like this from like regular iPhone photo. And you can see my backdrop here isn't the most professional, but it's just enough for what we need to do. So I'll take you through the stack of how we go about cleaning that up. Got one more angle to do. I've got the side view of her today. This is the puppet slayer, and if you want to print her yourself, you can go to tigerskullrpg.com and download her there. Because we're making a white-backed vignette, it's like the goal is a borderless image, so we can put it on like website pages and that sort of thing, and it'll be seamless on there. So that's sort of the goal. And to do that, the first thing I want to tackle is getting rid of this kind of, this background is supposed to be white, but it's kind of a creamy color. And so I want to address that by fixing the levels in the scene. So when you create an adjustment layer down here, you're going to get a mask, and you're going to get a histogram. And this is kind of just a graph of your blacks and your whites in the image. It doesn't really, kind of pushes your colors around a little bit, but this is more about the value. So what I like to do is, usually there's a spike of kind of where your whites end, what's supposed to be white anyways. So just compress this down a little bit, and then take this middle one and just tweak it until your model is reading well. It's not looking too blown out, and it's not looking too dark. You want something kind of in the middle, highly readable. I think around here is pretty good. You can tweak these and bring your blacks up and your whites up or down a little bit. We don't want to leave this. We want to leave this one alone because we do want that. We want to be getting to pure white on the edge of the image, and this is going to reduce it down to gray. So we don't really want to do that. So that's a big first step for us. I always create a hue saturation layer after that, just to just control how saturated my image is. I don't want it to be too black and white. I feel like it's kind of fake looking, kind of digitally manipulated looking. So I like a little bit of the warmth of the scene to be in here, and maybe something like this actually. I'm gonna pump it up a little bit. So now our levels are mostly in place. I want to get rid of these nasty background areas. So just in a real quick and sloppy way, I'm going to take my lasso tool and just fill these with white. I've got my white color, control backspace to fill those. And so now we've more or less got our vignette, but we've got all this milky coffee stain color here. So I'm going to make one more levels, and I'm going to get a little more aggressive with this one and really push it until everything is pretty much gone. And it's ruining my image, but I'm going to be very selective with this, so it's not a problem. I just have to, I'm going to tweak it a little bit just in case I do touch the character a little bit with this pass. Yeah, actually maybe I'll do something like this. There's a little bit of yellow here, but that's easy to paint out afterwards. And yeah, okay. So like I said, this isn't really the look we want. Let's invert this mask. Get a paintbrush. I've got just a soft round brush here, 30%. And I'm just going to very softly start. Well, maybe I'll be more aggressive on the outer edges here. and start to paint out this cream colored portion of the image. And you know, I've got an illustration background, so I'm pretty comfortable with manually doing this sort of thing. I'm sure there's a lot of ways to do this in Photoshop, but to me this is pretty quick. And notice I'm moving my brush parallel to the base just to kind of keep the integrity of the shadows and the direction of everything, because this is supposed to be a live, you know, like a product shot of a physical item, so that's why we're doing that. I'm going to come back up to my white layer, grab my white color, and paint that out a little bit. Maybe I'll come down to my saturation and play around with just dropping the saturation a little bit of these contact shadows. I think it's getting to be a bit too much. Cool. Okay, so now our character is pretty much totally cut out and on a perfectly white background. It's possible that the shadow is still dipping down a bit here. Let's just use the crop, hit C, crop tool to give ourselves a bit more space. Make a layer down here, fill it with white, and you can tell, okay, we're still getting a bit of an edge there. You can just take a white brush and just paint this out. Again, because it's a soft round brush. Yeah, you can kind of control that edge. It's nothing jarring about it. So there we go. One last thing that I like to do is sort of like a manual sharpen using the high pass filter. And this is going to convert your image. Oh, oops, before we do that, have to merge. To merge everything, works on a flattened image, so Control Alt Shift E, or you can copy everything to a new layer and merge it. I'll just do that. But anyway, yeah, I've got that hotkey memorized. It's burned in my mind. So Control Alt Shift E, and then Other, High Pass, and you've got kind of a radius control here. And it's hard for me to say exactly what, like where to take this, but you're just looking for the details you want to isolate, and kind of so you can go all the way to the left, and that's going to give you sort of like a very thin outline of your details, and then to the right is more or less the image you had before. So do you want to accentuate just the fine edges, or do you want to capture a little bit, emphasize a bit more of the broad shape changes? I think something like this is kind of what I want. And then set that to soft light, and you can see it just gives you a very subtle kind of sharpening that doesn't really damage your details. And I'm going to create a black mask because I like to be selective with this and kind of use it to highlight parts of my model, so like the bust area, maybe this here. I don't think it's really needed everywhere. I like to kind of just pick some spots and not overdo it. This is a step you can skip if you're using Instagram and you're really familiar with the Sharpen filters on there. They're actually really good. So if you want to quit here and do this on Instagram, you can totally do that. I think that's a good way to go. So let's wrap this up. Let's just test our image out. I'm going to make a new one. A new canvas, just with a plain white background. Maybe I'll make it a little bit bigger. So we want to see if this really does look seamless on something like a white website or wherever you're going to stick this image. So let's go Control A, Control C, copy, Control V, paste, And now, as you can see, I can kind of move this wherever I need it to be, and it's looks like a product shot. And but at the same time, you can kind of put it wherever you like on the page. So that's that. I hope that was helpful. Hope you guys learned a little bit of Photoshop stuff. Very basic Photoshop skills. It's all you really need for this sort of thing. So good luck. Happy sculpting. Happy editing. Take care, everybody.